What's up, y'all? In this video, I'm going to tell you why you should fail as a graphic designer in 2023. Alright, so let me tell you a little story. So earlier in 2022, I decided I was going to go out on a limb. I was going to go the extra mile. I was going to really stick myself out there and try to get some extra work from a company, I guess, that I really love and support. So, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but if you play fantasy football, there's a fantasy football podcast called The Fantasy Footballers. How original.
Welcome in.
No, but these guys are great. They're super funny. They seem like super great dudes. And I followed them on social media for a while, and I followed them on YouTube for a while. Their shows always make me laugh. I fully recommend it. They have a fantasy football podcast and a comedy podcast called The Spitballers. If you haven't checked it out, go check them out. They're amazing. So, I had all these ideas pop into my head. I was like, I love these guys. They're awesome. I want to make content for them. And they have these nicknames that they come up with for the players, and some of them are goofy, some of them are like kind of cool, and some of them are just like straight up stupid. But I was like listening to those and listening to them have like what they call like battle royale drafts in their comedy podcast. It's this thing where they like, you know, pick weapons or something in like a hardware store that they would fight each other with. And there's different things that I was like, that'd be kind of cool if I made it into a graphic. I hadn't gotten there, but I was like, I'm gonna start making some graphics for these guys with the nicknames, like Derrick Henry, who they call Derek Yeti, Deshaun Watson, who they call Voldemort, the one who shall not be named, Darrell Henderson, who they just messed up his name one time and called him Darnell Anderson, and so they just stuck with it. I just think that's hilarious and stupid, so I decided to make one for him too. Cooper Kupp, they call Koopa Cup of Coffee, and Darren Waller, who they call the Walrus. So I decided to make a graphic for each of these guys, just kind of at different times. I was like, all right, let me just make this whole plan. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make these graphics. They're gonna take me a lot of time and a lot of detail because it's not just your average branding graphic. It's like a lot of photo manipulation and lighting, things like that. And I'm gonna pour a bunch of time into these graphics, and I'm going to send them personalized Twitter messages. Then I realized I couldn't send them Twitter messages, which makes sense. They'd have a bunch of people flooding their DMs all the time. So I was like, all right, how do I reach out to them? So I decided the best way to do that was to reach out to their business manager on their website. So I did that. I sent him this long letter that I took some time to write and like write through what I do, why I wanted to work for them, what I can do for them, all that sort of stuff. So I really planned it out and really went in depth with it. So I shot him that letter and emailed him 2 different times because the first time he didn't respond. And eventually he got back to me and he was like, hey, we don't need any more graphic designers, but if we do, I'll keep you in mind. So I was like, okay, I'm not dead inside. It's fine. So I was like, I'm not just gonna sit around and wait though. And I don't even know if he showed my work to the guys who do the podcast, which was like my whole plan was for them to see it. So I was like, you know, one way or another, I'm gonna get them to see the work that I made for them. So I started posting it on social media and I started like tagging them in it, and I started posting it on their posts when they would mention this player. And there were actually some super cool things that happened from it. Like a couple of them liked it and retweeted some of the graphics that I made, and a bunch of other like fans commented on it. It was really cool experience. At the end of the day, I did not get the chance to work for them. I still haven't really had much communication with them, and it was a plan that basically didn't work. So I tell you all this to say, don't let the fear of failing or things not working out the way you want to stop you from reaching out to people or doing like work that you think is cool for people. Like I had to take the chance and pour time into these graphics and into this letter to send them, all for them to like say no, basically. But a lot of other good came from it. So I got some other followers from it on social media. I got some other people that saw the work and thought it was really cool and like messaged me on Twitter. I got a few like project requests from random people who just saw the work and then like looked at my other work and saw what I did. And so that's cool. And at the end of the day, it's just more eyes on my brand and my work for people to see. And you never know, they could reach out eventually. So like, although it didn't work out this time, you can't let that hold you back. You gotta keep trying. Sometimes you gotta put work and hours in and get nothing out of it. Other times you'll put little work and hours in and you'll get a lot out of it. But you can't just sit back and do nothing and wait for the work and the opportunities to come to you. You gotta You gotta reach out and you gotta make moves and you gotta try. And that's the point of this video. So if you're thinking about taking that step, taking that shot, trying to ask people, trying to DM people, trying to work for people, do it. But show them you can do it before you just ask them. You've gotta have work that they wanna see, that they like to see, or you've gotta do something specifically for them so they're like, wow, okay. So we already know this is your ability. Like, you can do this for us, and this is what we'd be paying you to get. And when people see that, even though it didn't work out for me, it's gonna give you a high probability of getting the job when they know you can do what you're telling them you can do. So I hope this video inspired you, and if not, I'm sorry. I don't know what you want from me. But check out my other videos, check me out on social media if you want to see those graphics that I made, as well as others. And check out my Patreon as well, where I have project files of graphics that I've made for you guys to look at and go through and learn more from. So with that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.